You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Thursday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby. What are you sending me links for? We're about to record the podcast.
Just open it up. It's an Amazon link. Everyone pause the podcast. Check the podcast links real quick here. You go on to Amazon. They are selling gorilla couches or gorilla sofas.
Yo!
And it is the greatest thing. I saw it as a meme the other day.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was real. It is real. They've got 4 different gorilla couches.
It's $10,000.
I mean, a tad pricey, but these things look fucking sick. Apparently, like, someone just made these AI couches as, like, I don't know, a thing for shits and gigs a few months ago. And then some place in China has actually started making them now.
Damn, I don't know which one I would buy. For those that don't want to click the links or whatever, so yeah, there's a black...
click the links. You need to see it.
There's a black plush one, a brown plush one. There's the yellow velvet, and I think my favorite is the cowhide sofa with, like, it looks like a leather couch, but it's a giant gorilla.
Well, look at the one where you see the girl, like, actually sitting on it. These things look massive, dude. I don't even know how you get, like, it's got to come in separate pieces or something, right? Like,
yeah, theoretically, you would have to be some assembly required.
I guess the best way to describe it for anyone who hasn't looked at it yet is it's literally like 2 gorilla arms are the armrests.
Yeah.
The back part is the chest of the gorilla with the head at the top, and you're basically sitting in Daddy's lap there. You're sitting in Kong's lap.
Don't say Daddy's lap.
Sorry. You're sitting in King Kong's lap. Dude, it honestly, it looks like something that you would have a great time tripping out on mushrooms on.
There are people in the reviews claiming that it's AI generated, but
they're actually selling it though, aren't they?
That's just it. I mean, you can buy...
I saw a guy on TikTok actually with one.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I thought it was legit.
I believe that it is in some capacity, has to be legit.
Although then again, I mean, if you're willing to spend $10,000 on this thing, maybe you deserve to be scammed.
Hey, $9,995 or 48 equal payments of $395.57, according to Amazon.
I want one of these in my house. I feel like my dogs would be terrified of this thing.
Your dogs would never jump up on the couch.
They
Absolutely.
would just piss all over this thing to assert their dominance. That's all they would do.
You just got to figure out a way to put some sort of sprayer in this thing so it can fight back.
Dude, imagine making love on this thing.
That's out of the question. Absolutely unacceptable.
What do you mean? As soon as you finish, you tap your chest. Oh!
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
You saw that Trudeau was in Sudbury about a week ago, eh?
Yeah, there was like a provincial caucus.
Yeah,
is that what they call it?
A bunch of Liberal MPs were in Sudbury doing meetings at Science North and at the Holiday Inn. And then Trudeau kind of rolled in for like the last day or for a day somewhere in there, meeting with, I mean, these are his people, right? His employees, I guess.
Yeah, you got to sneak some ums and ahs where you can.
That's
you know?
right, yeah. Did you see that the Conservatives were roasting him for his lavish stay at the Holiday Inn?
How much does that room go for? I mean,
it's like $150, $170, something like that. It's a Holiday Inn.
Did he get room service or something?
It's like, you guys know we don't wade into politics very often, and this is not a blue versus red conversation. Who calls the Holiday Inn a lavish experience?
I mean, it's a nice hotel.
Hey, I got a lot of reward points. When I go somewhere, I look for the Holiday Inn. You know, like it's a good place to stay for an affordable price.
I wouldn't call it a luxury stay or anything like that.
Nobody ever went and was like, man, I'm going to a 5-star Holiday Inn all-inclusive experience.
I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of person you are because, like, I'm not going to lie. I don't have a problem. Like, if I do a trip with my buddies, we'll stay at, like, a Motel 6, some dingy kind of places. But if I go with Courtney, like, she's not down to do that. So I guess what would you consider?
What's the criteria for a
luxury hotel?
For a fancy hotel?
Yeah.
I mean, first off, any hotel, the hotel that I stayed at in Toronto when I went to my cousin's wedding on the weekend, only had valet parking. And that's when I realized I had overbooked my hotel.
You know what? Yeah, if you have valet, or at least you're not worried about your car when you go into the hotel. Like, if you can pull up into the parking lot and be like, oh, let's not try and find the camera to park in front of here.
Right. Yeah. You're probably in a fairly fancy place.
If the rooms don't go straight directly out to the parking lot,
that's a big one.
That's a sign that you're not at a good hotel.
Hotel over motel, right? Like, motel, you're kind of like, deals are happening here. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and there's people that are on parole or probation staying here as well. I'd also say, actually, last weekend when we went to Blink 182, we stayed at a hotel that was attached to, like, the Metro Convention Center. And I'll just say this, like, as soon as we walked in, we all said to each other, and we're like, we shouldn't be here.
We're in over our heads.
Like, you just knew they were playing classical music.
Yeah.
They had the valet service, and then they also had the bellhop.
Oh, dude, taking your bags for you?
As soon as we checked in, they're like, go over to this guy, he'll bring your bags up, and then it's like, that was overly fancy for me. Also, we opened up the mini fridge. It had a little tab on it, so they knew if you opened it. Yeah. And then I think it was like Red Bulls were like $8. They had Fiji big bottles of Fiji for like $9.
But even that, yeah, you're right, because the places I stay, you open the mini fridge, it's empty. And that's if there's a mini fridge in there at all. It's crazy to think that mini fridge could be criteria for calling it a fancy hotel. Also, to your point about the bellhop, that's another thing to add to our list of things TV and movies told me was going to be everywhere. I don't think I've ever had someone take my bags in a hotel before.
It was the first time that it ever happened for me. Also, the dude was like way bigger than he should have been.
Yeah.
Like, I was always expecting it would be like some small little guy with a hat on.
Yeah. Like he was on his day off from the horse track, as a jockey.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Got a text in here at 762-555. Someone said if you have a big screen in a jacuzzi in room, that makes it a fancy hotel. I will disagree on that.
Yeah.
Jacuzzi in room does not mean it's fancy.
No, I think there was a time that maybe it did, but I think in modern times it means it's kind of sleazy.
There is a motel in Kapuskasing that I stopped at one time.
Okay.
When I was like moving to BC for the first time many years ago.
Yeah.
And me and this girl stopped. It's like 1 a.m. We pull up. There's only 2 cars in the parking lot. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. We go in and the guy goes, ooh, I'm going to give you a little treat.
Oh.
I'm going to give you the honeymoon suite. And we're
wow.
Like, all right, cool, man. And then he's like, nobody else is here. We're like,
those are the last words people hear. That's
dude, go in the room. It's got this gross ass, dirty jacuzzi in the corner.
What shape was it?
Heart shape.
Yeah!
And the ceiling was just mirrors everywhere. And I'd never felt so uncomfortable. We literally slept in our clothes on top of the blankets.
That is the right call, man. You do not crawl into that bed or that. Did you go in the jacuzzi?
No.
Good man.
God,
good for
no.
you.
The jacuzzi looked like a CLR commercial. Like, it was so nasty.
Just a little green tint to the water.
Yeah. I think there's so many aspects that make a hotel just greasy, man.
That guy was super bummed out that you didn't use the jacuzzi, too, as he was watching on all the cameras he had in that room.
That's all we were thinking all night. And there's certain hotels where you do that, where you go in and you're like, I could die here tonight.
Oh, dude. I remember when I was super broke and I was moving for work when I was living in BC. I was moving from Vancouver Island up to the northern part of BC to do a radio gig up there. And as I was driving, I was like, I'm not going to make this whole trip in one day like I had originally planned. I got on, I had a little Bluetooth headset at the time in my car, and I called my wife, and I was like, I'm coming up to, God, what was this, Williams Lake or something like that. And I was like, I need you to Google 1-star hotel, because I didn't have it in the budget to get a hotel room.
Get the cheapest place you can, for
Find
sure.
me the cheapest hotel room in this place, and it was like the door didn't close all the way. It had one of those chain latches. And the guy was like, "That's basically how you keep it closed." Oof. The TV was an old giant tube TV. It was a single bed with a really itchy blanket on top of it. I was like, I'm going to sleep not only in my clothes, I'm keeping my jacket on.
If you go in to the hotel room and it feels dirty, that's the worst feeling in the world.
I was like, I kept my shoes on, I kept my jacket on. I woke up at like 4:35 in the morning and I was like, good enough. Went and checked out.
I think another reason you can tell that a hotel is sketchy is if they still have one of the signs on the outside advertising that they have color TV.
Yes. Yeah. Color TV or like cable, satellite, all that stuff.
If they're bragging about like basic things that most hotels have.
Right. Yeah. Because they couldn't bother to go up and change the sign in the last, what are we going to say, 30 years since this stuff was like a promising advertisement for the hotel room.
Yeah.
You're just like, this isn't a good sign.
If there's more cigarette butts laying outside of the hotel than there is cars in the parking lot, that's the biggest sign, man.
It's probably a good sign that you should either turn around and leave or, depending on who you are and the lifestyle you lead, you're home.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a rush, man. It's a rush staying at a sketchy hotel.
Oh, absolutely. I can't even remember. There is like Central Ontario. I cannot for the life of me remember the town, but I was visiting my aunt at her cottage and I was leaving it. And it was the same thing. It was just like, got tired. It's like, kids, we need to find somewhere to stay. And just found this motel. Drove in, had like a Leafs flag on the door of the manager's office or whatever.
If they're advertising their favorite sports teams, that's a sign too.
Well, no, I think they were using it as a curtain.
Oh, that's even worse.
Better.
That's even worse.
I was like, this is based on where we are, this is where we go. So I went in, I got us a room. It was like $60. Dirt cheap.
Yeah.
We go walking down. It was like a motel in that, like, you park in the parking lot, go into your specific room.
Mm-hmm.
And there were two guys sitting outside of separate rooms just smoking darts on rocking chairs. And I was like, kids, in case I don't get a chance to say it, I love you. I've always loved you. That's when you know you're in a rough spot.
Yeah, you could tell people have been staying there like longer than they have at a home.
Yeah. You're not here on a nightly basis anymore. Those are the three stages, right? You're here on a nightly basis. That's normal.
Mm-hmm.
You're here on an hourly basis, which that's sketchy. Or you're here on a full-time basis, and now I have questions.
But then you always convince yourself that it's not too bad. You're like, they have a free breakfast in the morning at least.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast. Is it real? Is it fake? Do we even care? Let's find out.
We have long asked the question on this show, who is paying all of these scientists and universities to do these studies that give us results that make no sense?
Yeah, most of them sound BS. It sounds like someone who's for the thing, trying to prove why it's beneficial.
So after reading a story about how apparently video games in a new study are good for you because they promote mental health and awareness, I went looking for some other bizarre studies. Some of these are going to be real. Some of them are fake, as shared by our friendly listeners that texted in to 762-555. I will read you the headline and the school. All of these are from leading universities in North America.
Okay.
I will read you the sort of the gist of the study and the university that put it on, and you will tell me if it is real or if it is fake.
All right, let's do it.
Let's start with this one here that says cliff diving can strengthen your heart health due to the energy required and the shock of hitting the water.
I mean, I want to say yes for that because that could totally be true. I mean, it'll scare the life out of you. So I'll say yeah.
That one is true. Although I thought the same as you, that like the terror of falling down the cliff might undo any of the health benefits of the climb up and the energy to do the jump.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I would have a heart attack.
I mean, I guess it's the adrenaline rush is the whole thing that might do it for you.
There is another study that says that a shared office printer is good for your cardiovascular health because it forces you to get up from your desk and walk away. And this is from the American College of Sports Medicine.
I mean, it makes sense, the getting up and walking around, but there's no way those things are beneficial for people. They just make people mad. I'm going to say no.
That is a real study.
Is it?
That says that you should not, if you run a big office and you want your employees to be healthy, you should not have a printer on everybody's desk. You should force them to get up and walk away.
Man, I just feel like having a universal printer in an office just makes everyone so pissed off. So it's kind of counteracting, you know?
Also, just think, if you're sitting in an office right now and you've got the desk farthest away from the printer, Your boss put you there for a reason. Just saying.
Out of shape.
Another survey says that there are a certain amount of chips, and there's some debate as to what that amount is, but a certain amount of potato chips is actually a healthy addition to your diet due to the fiber and some of the oils helping to keep you regular. And that is coming from the University of Alberta.
That sounds like something I would have told my mom when I was like 10, so there's no way that's true. There's no way.
Nope, that came in from Justice, so thank you to Justice for texting
That
that
sounds like a lie a kid says to their mom to eat more candy or chips or whatever.
Science says that a short walk in a shopping center is actually better for your health than a long walk outdoors due to it being better conditions, a smoother surface, and the added mental benefit of seeing all the sales and signs and colors and things from the University of Miami, Ohio.
I'll say that one's true because, I mean, old people love walking at the mall, and there's got to be a reason for that.
That is a fake one I made up.
Oh.
The giveaway is the University of Miami, Ohio. I only know because of football.
Great hockey school, too.
This one here says being overly stressed actually helps you develop a better memory by forcing your brain into action, building newer, stronger brain cells from the UC Berkeley University.
So being more stressed is good for your brain?
That being stressed, not overly stressed, but there is a certain level of stress that is actually beneficial for your mental capacities.
I feel like that's just something someone stressed up with came up with. I'll say that's real.
That is a real one. Yeah, it's mostly tested in mice and rats, putting them through stress and then forcing them to do the maze. But it does show that some amount of stress kind of puts you in fight or flight mode.
Well, what's the old saying? Like, everyone works better under pressure kind of thing?
Turns out there is some truth to that. And one last one here. Science says that if you start off your week with a shot, 1 ounce of a stronger alcohol such as tequila, it will actually jumpstart your liver and help you to have better liver health.
It'll jumpstart your liver?
Yeah, it sort of puts it into overdrive, and then sort of, you know, if you like ramp it up and then it can kind of coast the rest of the way, it helps with the cleanup, the detox, so to speak.
I don't know. I'm going to say that one's fake.
That's from Queen's University. Does that change your mind?
No, that one's got to be fake, right?
Yeah, that's fake.
Yeah.
I thought putting Queen's University on it might sell it a little bit.
It's going to be like, who made that one? Burt Kreischer or something?
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I don't know how we didn't talk about this yesterday, but the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, has been going on the past few days. Did you see the Little John video yet?
The Little John, is that where Obama talked about Donald Trump's... Oh, the rapper.
Yeah, Little John was invited to the DNC.
So the Republican National Convention had Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock, and the Democratic one had Little John.
Yeah. Check this out.
Georgia, how do you cast your vote?
Tell me this is the guy introducing Little John. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris for president. God, get loud, another round of shots. DNC, turn out for what?
I don't know what world we're living in anymore. We are getting so much closer to living in that universe of idiocracy.
You ever seen the music video for Turn Down for What?
Yes.
The whole thing is people destroying property with their crotches.
I know.
Now it's the song that we're playing to nominate the Democratic nominee for president of the United States?
Walking through the crowd here.
Everybody get your hands up.
He's a man of the people.
Everybody get your
He's trying to get them hyped up. And then...
We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back.
And then all the people that are in the Democratic Party are there trying to, like, jive with him.
Give it a wall.
And then do you hear the song switch there?
Governor Walls.
Give it a wall.
That's amazing.
I get what they were going for. Like, what's his name? Tim Walz is her vice president. Like,
Yeah.
Candidate.
He's current governor. Could be the vice president. He's getting a lot of hype right now in the liberal side of things.
The irony of playing a song that is about sweat dripping down testicles.
Yeah, to describe what could be America's first female president and her running mate is wild.
If you had told me 20 years ago that Little John would be the one to announce someone's presidential run, I would not have believed you.
No, of course not. This is insane. Both sides have gotten insane. Hulk friggin' Hogan was standing on stage at the Republican National Convention endorsing Donald Trump. We don't even trust Hulk Hogan to endorse pro wrestling anymore.
It's just crazy to me that the guy that's famous for just saying
What?
is now allowed on that platform. I mean, honestly, she should start doing, like, her slogan should be based around Little John. Like, a vote for Kamala Harris is a step in the right direction.
What?
Or just even in general, it's like, don't forget to vote this November.
Okay.
I mean, even when they're like, does the state of Georgia endorse Kamala Harris to be the presidential nominee? And he goes, yeah. I don't think that Little John should be speaking for the state of Georgia.
Kamala Harris's slogan should be "Get Crunk 2024." No Trump, get Crunk.
Trump 2024 versus Crunk 2024.
That's it.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Police in New Jersey are looking for a woman who decided to hop over the fence at a zoo and try and pet a tiger.
Oh, my God.
Now, she didn't actually jump into the tiger pen itself.
Just between, like, where people are supposed to go and where the pen is, there's that, like, gap.
There's that little gap there, which can we address? Why do zoos do that? Why don't they just make it higher? Like,
yeah.
It's too easy to hop over those things. You see these happen at least once a year.
I think that the hope is that if the pen was right next to the walkway, someone's going to put their dumb arm through there. They figure that the gap is enough for normal people to be like, oh, this is the distance I should maintain from the animals.
Well, it didn't stop her. Here, watch this video. You can see she hops over the thing. She's putting her arm through the fence trying to pet it. And, like, you can't tell or not. Like, it looks like the tiger snaps at her. Like, it doesn't look like it gets her or anything.
Right.
But she took off. Police are still looking there. And honestly, if she did get bit, I got no sympathy for her.
No, 100%. If this is a situation where I'm cheering for one team or the other, I am 100% pro-tiger.
Well, and the worst part is that if the tiger did do something, it's kind of like, what was that, Harambe a few years ago.
The gorilla or whatever it was that got shot because a kid jumped into the pit?
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, if you do get inside the pen of an animal at a zoo, it's on you. Like, no one should save you.
You become part of the exhibit at that point, right? The same way that they release, like, small animals into the pens of carnivores because it's part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's you. That's your ass now.
Kind of that find your way in, find your way out mentality, I think, is what it should be.
Everything inside the bars belongs to the tiger. If you decide to put your arm in there, then the same applies.
You know what? It just becomes a WWF-style cage match, is what it is. The real Hell in a Cell is what it is.
If you escape, congratulations, you win. But until you get out of there, you belong to that tiger.
Do you know what you win if you get out? You get a Darwin Award. That's what you should get.
What is it, Macho Man in the Spider-Man movie, where he's like, I got you for 3 minutes?
If you jump into a tiger's pen, a gorilla pit, whatever it is, I think on your ID for the rest of your life, you know you have, like, the organ donor thing?
Yeah.
It should just say, like, legal dumbass.
You get branded with it for life.
Every time you get pulled over, you know, when you even cross the border and they scan your passport and see, they could be like, oh, okay.
Oh, you're a dumbass. Mm-hmm. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
It's like the official opposite of an Order of Canada.
Yeah.
It's the Order of Stupidity.
You can go online and you can see the RSO look for, like, sex offenders and stuff, but you should also be able to see the, like, registered dumbass list for your neighborhood.
Idiots living in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
You have to legally introduce yourself when you move. Hey, my name's Stephanie and I'm stupid.
Yeah.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Have you seen that video of the beer league brawl that happened in what is it, Etobicoke or something like that?
Oh, was that a beer league game? I thought it was a lumberjack competition.
Did you see the video?
Oh my god, dude, those guys are nuts.
Oh my god, if you haven't seen this video yet, text hockey to 762-555 or check the podcast links there. Basically what happens is, I don't know, it looks like there's some kind of scrum. Classic beer league shenanigans here.
Right, somebody said something, did something, pissed somebody else off, and now it's getting out of hand.
Well, maybe let's just, like, rewatch it for the sake of rewatching it here. So, yeah, it looks like someone's kind of, like, talking some ish. Mm-hmm. Guy comes by the bench, and of course it's the dude on the bench that starts swinging his stick.
100%. There's all the guys are out on the ice. The guy who's got the most protection and distance just starts flailing his stick, hitting guys in the head.
And then immediately it turns into a samurai match where everyone's just like wielding their sticks like their swords around. Like,
I will say this. I want to know the brands of some of those sticks because I've seen guys playing hockey. You see it even at the NHL level. Guy will lean on his stick just a little too hard, look at it the wrong way, snaps in half. These guys are trying to chop each other down.
You know what? Let's give these fellas the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were on day 29 of the 30-day warranty on their sticks, and they just wanted to get a new one from Pro Hockey Life.
Boys,
maybe that's what it was.
Go all out, yeah.
Honestly, man, it's pretty disgusting. This is why I stopped playing in legit beer leagues. Like, I used to play in that, the irony of the league being called the Adult Safe Hockey League.
Right, where everybody's just like got a chip on their shoulder.
You drag your ass at 11 p.m. on like a Tuesday night,
right,
to go play some hockey, and it's like some of these dudes are just using it as their therapy rather than actually going to therapy.
It's crazy. These guys are playing like they're scouts in the stands. Buddy, it's 11:30 on a Tuesday. There's nobody in the stands.
I think the crazy thing is that like everyone forgets when they get out on the ice that we all still have to go to work tomorrow is the biggest thing sometimes.
Yeah, man.
And I get it. I mean, like, I get competitive. You know me when I play sports. 100%. I get super competitive. I'll talk some smack, right? Like, I'll bump with you a little bit, but I mean, there's no reason to go full tomahawk on someone.
Well, that's just it. Like, I think that there is still room in, like, recreational sports like this for some competitiveness. Like, you know, hey, let's have a little competitive fire. A little chippiness is fine.
Yeah.
But there's a point where it can go too far. Like, I played football for a season when I lived out on the prairies in like an adult men's, not professional, no one here's getting paid league.
Oh, that must have been wild.
Oh my God, dude, the stuff that people would do to you. I was on the line. I was an offensive lineman. The stuff that guys would do to you, they're like jamming in under you, stepping on your toes and stuff like that. It's like, hey,
relax,
man,
yeah.
I got a job to go to tomorrow, so let's all just take it easy.
And I know some people, like, we'll send you this video in a second, but I know some people will watch and be like, oh, well, the refs really aren't doing anything. I mean,
the refs not getting paid to be there either.
That's the thing. And if they are getting paid, it's like, what, $20-$30 a game? Right. Like, they're literally getting paid to babysit grown men.
Right. Best thing that can happen to the referee there, and I'm saying not that this is what he wants to happen, but what's most likely to happen is he's just going to get hit by 3 or 4 sticks from different directions.
Some of you are paying your babysitters more than beer league refs are getting paid. That's all I'm saying, is whatever the babysitter rate is going right now, that's what beer league refs deserve.
This is the Brock and Delby Podcast.
A man in Thailand was bitten on his bits, I guess we could say, by a 12-foot python while he sat on the toilet.
Okay, these stories got to stop. This is too many.
Check this out. It's insanely crazy. Yeah, he just went to sit down to do his business.
Sure.
And felt the bite there.
Oh.
This is a real quote from the guy. I felt something biting my balls. It was very painful, so I put my hands in the toilet to see what was wrong. I was shocked that I grabbed a snake. Which is kind of a funny sentence, just reaching into the toilet. But
the idea that he just blind grabbed anything from a toilet is crazy.
I quickly stood up and plucked it out. I felt pain, really bad pain, and there was blood everywhere. But I was more shocked to have found a python in the toilet. And then he says that he beat the serpent to death with a toilet brush.
There you go.
Afterwards.
That's what those things are for.
Which, what a sight that would have been.
You walk into the room and man's jousting a toilet brush into a toilet with a snake snapping at him.
Oh, my God. I mean, this is one of those things where, like, I mean, I'm glad we live in Canada and, you know, serpents aren't just everywhere.
Right.
But you hear those stories. There was one out east a few years ago of the one that crawled through the apartment building pipes and stuff. And
horrifying.
Oh.
Hey, when you get bit by a snake in the toilet and you kill it with a toilet brush, do you flush?
Do you flush?
How do you get rid of the snake? Do you send it back from where it came, or do you pull it out and like?
I mean, I get the sending it back where it came. Maybe the rest of the enemies see it and are like, "We're not going up that pipe."
Send him a message. It's like putting a head on a steak in old times.
That's how you learn how good your plumbing system really is. If it can flush that thing back down.
I'm just saying, if it made its way up, it feels like it should fit going back down, right?
Oh man, if you do want to see photos, I mean, there's not photos of the guy's bite marks, but there is.
That's probably for the best.
There is photos of the snake and the blood everywhere.
The bowl, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yikes. The arena.
A whole different meaning of painting the bowl, if you know what I mean.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Fortunately, our man Ed's still in the hospital right now, but he's saying he should get out today. But in the meantime, my second favorite wordsmith, you got something for us here?
Yeah, today's word of the day is dearth.
Dearth?
Dearth. DEARTH. And dearth refers to a lack of or inadequate supply of. So to say, like, when you're at your buddy's house and he's out of beers, there is a dearth of beverage options.
Okay.
You know, he's lacking. He doesn't have a lot of whatever it is you're looking for.
If you're a CFL fan, you'd agree with me when I say there is a dearth of fans that go to Toronto Argonauts games.
100%. And to be honest, in these modern times, I would also say there is a dearth of teams named the Rough Riders. Yeah. We can fix that, but we need to work on it.
Could you say it like it's like lacking, right?
Yeah,
like, kind of thing?
It's either you're lacking or you just don't have enough of something.
So if you were at work today and some guy's kind of half-assing it, could you say quit dearthing around?
You could say that he's got a real dearth of effort today. Yeah, that would be a good way to let him know that
you're real dearthy, aren't you?
I think you got to be careful with using it in that tense.
You're a dearth worm.
Because if you call somebody dearthy, there's a good chance they're going to mishear you, and now it's an HR complaint.
Yeah. Oh, dearth. Use it wherever you can, all right?
Well, you know what? Actually, I just thought of, there's probably one perfect way to put this so that everybody listening can walk away knowing exactly what dearth is. The Toronto Maple Leafs have a dearth of championships spanning almost 7 decades. All right. Thank you guys for coming out to the show today. It's been a lot of fun.
Getting a dearth amount of respect here.
You used it perfectly. That was great.
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store, with all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.